Hello, everybody. And by that I mean, oh, wait, shoot, there's like 4 people here.
Hey, hey.
Sup, all y'all. We are the Paper Dungeon, and this is Table Scraps. I'm Aaron. This is Drew. I'm trying to remember because it's mirrored.
Oh, right,
So
because
I'm
on the
like,
stream. Yeah, try to
this
get it
is
right.
Drew. Um, because my screen is mirrored, but I also don't know which side of the screen you're on. So
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's always weird. Yeah, it's like,
um,
are they above me, below me? What's going
yeah,
on
you would
here?
know better because you're normally the one who like runs the stream stuff, so you can see like your view, our view, the stream's view,
Uh-huh. Yeah,
everything. But anyway,
yeah.
this is our show that we run on Thursdays that we use to talk about our shows on other days, such as on Monday at 7 p.m. CST and on Wednesday at 7 p.m. CST. And this one's at 1:30 p.m. CST. Is pretty great. I have our plugs. I'm going to run through them super fast. I'm getting pretty good at it. Social media, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Be there. They're awesome. We're picking stuff up, doing great. We'll be putting out the output. I honestly might be able to work on some of that myself. I'm very excited to get better at that tomorrow. Woo. Uh, so check those out. We also have a website, www.thepaperdungeon.com, where we have a merch store. We can buy merch with our logo on it and stuff like that. It's really great. Speaking of merch stores, Lydia Corinne, the wonderful cast member that we have that also makes our overlays and all of our character art and a whole bunch of cool art on our own, has her own store at www.lydiacorinne.com, where you can buy her art on like shirts and pillows and stuff like that, or commission your art from her. Her commission list is active and running, and she needs money, and you should give it to her in trade for goods that you want, because that's how. Welcome to my only true god, capitalism.
Welcome to how. Welcome to economy.
Yes. Um, if you want to support all of us collectively, there's a lot of ways to do it. We have a Ko-Fi. We have Streamlabs donations. We also have a Patreon. On that Patreon is some cool extra side content that we put out. I am going to get with Grant sometime in the next couple of weeks to start figuring out some things that I've got planned and doing some of that stuff. But yeah, there's already some out there. We will be releasing some of that to subscribers through our Discord. If you're not on a Discord, I don't know what you're doing with your lives. Get over there. It's awesome. And Maz, I just want you to know you're doing incredible.
Maz, you're doing better than me because I literally forgot how to do commands because
I,
I
I
normally don't
saw
ever have to
you
do them.
like go to the keyboard and then you were like, and then you just like put your hands away.
Yeah, I'm just like, cause I started typing. I'm like, hold on a second.
That's not.
Wait. How do I do commands on Twitch again?
So,
I'm like, Maz normally does this.
it's
Oh dear.
it's like when the like secretary retires at any like large
Uh-huh,
corporation office
100%. Yep.
and they're like, I mean, it can't be that bad, and then you walk in and you're like, Linda, and then Linda's not there and you're like, oh, that we have a printer somewhere. It's
Exactly.
Maz, you are our Wizard of the Coast and our Linda. We could not be here without you. um,
Oh boy.
yeah. There's probably some. Oh, let me scroll through the list of things. Is there anything that I'm missing from our command list? Oh my god, did I actually have everything? I suppose the only other thing, it's a bit more of a me thing. No, Maz, you're not a Karen. Linda, we like.
Yeah, we like Linda.
Um, but one of my things on the DMs Guild, me and a group of people that I know that are way cooler than I am released something called the Mist Manuscripts. It's very similar to Von Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. It has a bunch of dark domains. All proceeds from that will go to Jasper's Game Day. Also, Maz, great job out there for having the things that I never told you to do, but you are just incredible at doing it. All the proceeds will go to Jasper's Game Day. It's pay what you want. It's really cool. We will be matching the amount that we raise from now until the 31st. You have 11 days before Halloween. And then me and some other people will be matching that amount and sending it to Jasper's Game Day. So get on that. Wait, no. Maz, you're already the second best mod, at least. I think it might be a tie for me personally with you and Wander. Because I have to keep your head. I don't want your head to get too big. Everyone else is like Matt's best mod.
I mean,
So
man, this is
I
the
have to
best
bring you
one.
down. I have to, as the villain, I can't be on the side
As
of the clear
villain
hero,
of the paper dungeon.
right? Like, as the villain, I can't be on your side. But
Mm-hmm.
know that if I was not the villain, I would be.
It's a terrible
It's
burden
true. It's
that you
like
are taking, but we're
it's
gracious
like
for
if
you.
I was Skeletor and you are He-Man, just because I think you're pretty cool doesn't mean that I can like help you.
We're still mortal enemies.
Absolutely. Um, but yeah, that's all the plugs for the start. Other than the obvious ones like watch our show on Mondays at 7 p.m. CST, watch our show on Wednesday, Between the Rows, Sins of the Father, where we will be recording the finale tonight.
We're excited.
I'm very excited for it. I hope I don't blow it real hard.
We're all gonna die.
But speaking of Between the Rows, we will premiere the finale that we're recording tonight on Halloween. We're taking over the main channel on
That's right.
Monday. And it's going to be sick. And a bunch of people are going to show up, like the ones who like show up regularly for Mondays, and they're going to be like,
What's going on?
What is happening? What is going on here? What? Like, oh. And I'm very excited for it. Because it's going to be terrible viewership.
Nah, it's gonna be great.
Oh, geez. So I wanna talk about first off the Monday campaign,
Yes.
the main campaign that we run on Mondays, based in Nico Muras. It was an episode. There was a lot of highs, in my opinion. I don't know if it was like our best episode. There was a lot of highs and there was a lot of lows. There was a lot of jokes that landed real good, and a lot of jokes
and
that
some
really
that
did not.
really did.
That absolutely flopped.
And some that lasted a little too long.
Yeah, or frankly, just never should have been said. I know, like, you know. Also, this past Monday, oh my goodness, I had like it was the weirdest thing. I had slept for 12 hours and then been awake for like 16 hours. So I was both incredibly well rested and absolutely exhausted.
Yeah,
There was like no in between.
That is a rare combination.
It is. It was weird. So I was like, my brain was running on overdrive because I'm like, yeah, I'm completely awake, but also I like was not in the same reality. so I have like no idea what happened this past episode.
It's when you eventually get to the point. Yeah, you're so tired that you don't feel tired. You feel 100% awake. However, if you close your eyes for like longer than 10 seconds, you'd instantly be asleep.
It felt like the scene from Doctor Strange where he gets pushed out of his body. And he's like seeing way too much of the universe. That was me this past month. I'm like, oh! My brain's just exploding.
I see everything.
Oh my god! But yeah, to kind of sum up what happened in the episode, and then we can delve a little deeper into it. We struck a deal with Zariel, the lord of the first layer of hell of Avernus. And
Lovely
then
lady.
We went to Avernus and suffered greatly. Mm-hmm. And then we made it to the Pit of Maggots, which was our end goal destination. And now we just have to get in there and steal a dagger.
Yeah, now we just have to walk in, steal a dagger, walk back out.
Oh,
actually,
shoot.
we don't even have to walk out.
Maz, thank you. I completely forgot to announce on the Discord that we were going live. So if you did that, thank you very much, Maz. Because I'm bad at my job.
I did notice the Discord notification pop up.
I didn't
like,
at all.
Huh. And it literally didn't even register in my mind. Like, oh yeah, we totally didn't do that.
Yeah,
so it's guys, it's my fault. It's because I distracted Aaron before we went live. He got really excited about something, and I kept him going on it, and then we just like started.
I'm also just bad at my job. Hello, Handskate. By the way, but yeah. So first off, the conversation with Zariel and all that stuff.
That was tense, actually. I was a little worried.
Shout out to Renaya. Lydia Plain Renaya. This was one of my favorite Renaya character episode kind of stuff, where we were like, all right, we got this deal, and I'm looking at my character sheet with my +0 charisma, and I'm like, who wants to do the talking?
Who wants to do?
And
Yeah,
Lydia's
exactly.
like, me.
I'm gonna do it.
It's me. I am doing it. And I'm
Luke,
like,
I'm
yes,
Captain Now.
please. Yes, ma'am. Like, get in there. And
Even though I'm pretty sure, Lydia's. I think Renaya only has like a +2 charisma or
I mean,
something.
she's a warlock.
That's fair.
Like,
We that is true. We used to be a very like an all charismatic
yeah, it
party.
was
Now we're
paladins,
only
warlocks, and
mostly
bards.
a charismatic party.
Okay, okay. So, Mask, to answer your question, and so that way everything makes sense. Both devils and demons are fiends. That is the like race of devils and demons. Devils are lawful evil, so they are all about order and control, and they're like the worst part of capitalism.
Yeah, they are the rule with an iron fist.
Yeah, they like we
kind of
own
thing.
the things, and they use like money and all that stuff. Demons are all about chaos. They just like murder and destruction. They just run around stabbing people.
They're just all the Joker.
Yes, devils are the oil tycoons. That is very accurate. Where they're like, nah, get back into the pit and start mining for oil. Nah.
Yes.
So they clash a lot because where demons are like, we want to burn the world. Devils are like, we can't make money if the world's on fire. Mm-hmm. And so they butt heads because they're both trying to rule the world in very different ways, but they are both considered fiends. So they're the creatures that live in either the abyss or the nine hells are both fiends, but very different ideologies.
Yes.
And that's the difference. So we're talking to devils, which is Abinthy's girlfriend Glossia and Zario.
Yep.
They are both archdevils. And and
just as you do casually.
Yeah,
talking about devils.
What can I say?
I was in that conversation. There were a couple different times. First of all, I'm very glad I didn't have to say anything because it could have ended very poorly if I said anything.
Absolutely.
However, there's one thing that I'm glad Abinthy said because I thought of it at the same, like pretty much the same time you did, Aaron. I'm like, because we made the contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in order to get information about where the dagger first death is, in exchange basically for Renaya's servitude,
like endless loyalty and servitude and stuff.
And like I caught that language the first time. I'm like, just it was like, oh, he's like, what will you give me in your servitude? I'm like, hold on a second. Now hold on.
Now wait just a minute. And
we're trying to not do the whole servitude thing, you know.
Abinthy, who is first of all in a relationship with an archdevil, so he's like pretty used to this. Yeah. And second of all, real smart. My boy's wicked smart, in the words of Good Will Hunting.
I've never watched it. Although I think I do I know that quote though.
He like slammed. He's like, "Are you just gonna pull out of like a book or whatever? Or at least I'm original." And then the guy walks away because he's angry in the bar, and then the dumb friend's like, "Yeah, that's right. My boy's wicked smart." And so Abinthy speaks up. He's like, Glossia, honey, like tug. It reminded me very much of like when a kid is like tugging on their like parents' like pant leg, like mom,
that's right,
mom,
hey,
I'm thirsty,
mom, help.
And Abinthy's like, I just want to be clear here. You're getting, first of all, pretty good end of the deal here. We've got you get rid of 2 of your potential rivals / enemies. Win a whole war that has been going on for hundreds of years. Potentially. I mean, that part's up to you, but like we open the door. And literally the only thing that you have to give up is information that you don't care about.
Mm-hmm.
And you also get like a favor. That's all you don't get servitude. You get one favor. You get like one, like, here you go, let it happen.
Mm-hmm.
What I should have lobbied for, because when Abinthy double checked the whole contract to make sure that nothing else was wrong, since I rolled a crit, I should have asked DJ if I could skew it in our advantage.
And like included a like loophole.
included a like small fine print that's just like we must like secede to a request, but we do get to choose which of the requests we like agree to. That would have been way smarter, but I was too I was I was too, first of all, not in this realm. Second of all, freaked out the fact that I actually rolled a natural 20 and succeeded. Yeah, no. Matt, this is no wishing for more wishes kind of situation. It's a favor. It's right. Like, could you imagine if you just went to like your friend and you were like, hey, would you do me a solid? They're like, yeah, sure. What is it? And you're like, I just own you now. And they're like, well, I already said I would give you a solid. Like, no, that's not how it works.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And Abinthy flirts with death. While I love the moment that he gets a foothold, and he's like, haha, I succeeded on this one thing. He immediately starts to push the envelope just a little bit more every single time, because he's like, I got away with interrupting you. And then she's like, well, of course I would never think that. And he's like, well, we would never expect you to stoop that low. Them both knowing that she totally was about to do that. I'm like, how far can I push DJ before he just starts me on fire?
Before he just says,
like,
you know
just
what?
kills me. And then we start a war between arc devils. Like, how much?
Dude, that would bring an end to the blood war, because then the demons would just come in and just destroy everything.
Abinthy was the Halak the whole time. I mean, Lydia does bring up it's kind of funny how similar Abinthy and Renaya are, which is by design. But like it would be kind of funny.
That would be really, really funny if like secretly Abinthy also was raised
and
in
it's like
in a cult.
It is still kind of like Renaya's doing, because this never would have happened if Renaya would have not like brought up the idea of using the Halak as bait. So it's like, yeah, it's kind of Renaya, but it's like, okay. But we make it out alive.
Yep. So, we get to the end of the meeting.
We learned the easiest, like, this was so in Zariel's favor. It's unreal. Like,
well, see, and so the thing that I find greatly amusing, like, part of the reason Cather really didn't say anything is because during that whole conversation, I'm thinking to myself, and I was like, hold on a second. Cather's not committing to anything here. It's literally it's literally, we get information, or more accurately, Renaya gets information. In trade, Renaya gives a favor. Yeah, I'm not involved at all.
Exactly.
They can just do their thing.
100%. Like, this is all on Renaya.
Yeah. Like, and she killed it.
Absolutely.
And again, the only time I wanted to intervene was with the eternal servitude thing. I'm like,
Abinthy's got your back.
And exactly, that's right.
Abinthy Tripwit's attorney at law.
Shoot, dude, I could just go home. I don't even need to be here.
Tripwit's the traveling tailor Esquire.
Like, that's right. Dude, imagine if it was actually an Esquire.
I mean, he canonically, yes.
Canonically, yeah.
Yeah, he went to law school. It like it was like an online law school, but
it was, well, yeah. I mean, it's the law school for wizards.
Yeah, it's through the weave.
Yeah,
it's like a semester course.
Well, yeah, because basically, I mean, you're just using a long form version of a legend lore.
Yes.
To look up information, and then you have to set up like a shrine orb. That way, exactly. Yeah.
It's like you can like legally become a priest qualified to marry someone in like 20 minutes. That's Abinthy. Because he was like, I could do that. Probably. Like, one time someone brought him up on like charges, like false charges, and he's like, I'm not spending money for a lawyer, I'm gonna do it myself.
I represent myself. And he did so with eloquence and class.
Handscape. Cather isn't the person who doesn't contribute anything to the group, but he's the one that you never see. Like, you don't show up. You don't show up to the like group meetings or the like plans or anything. You just like send a message in the group chat and decide what Cather needs to do for the group project, and then you show up and you're like, man, I really hope that our project is done. He's like, yeah, I did it. But like no communication happened. Like, and they're like,
say,
okay, we're just gonna go.
I'd give Cather a little more credit than him just being the kid that doesn't do anything in group projects.
Cather isn't able to show up at the meetings for the group project because he has required weight training. The only time that everyone else is available. So you just send a message and you're like, hey, Cather, we need you to research the gosh dang effects of tri-coupling. I don't know, the bismbops underwater. And he just sends a one-word response, okay.
Yep.
Like,
he would send that response, yes.
And then you're like, well, I guess we just hope and pray that he figures it out.
And then he shows up on the day and he has like a 3-page essay on it.
Absolutely. And you're like, oh, thank goodness. But up until then, everyone was very concerned.
He's just the secret bodyguard that like follows everybody around afterwards just to make sure that nobody picks on them, but nobody even knows he's there.
100%. You just like they're about to get picked on, and then you just like loom out of a locker. You're like, they're like, what? Where? What? How did he's too big to fit in that locker? Then they like you close the locker, they open it, you're not there. You're like, whoa. Anyway,
boy.
Back to Dungeons and Dragons.
Back to D&D. Oh boy.
We make that day. We figure out where we need to go. It's the Pit of Maggots, past the screaming, the fallen screaming Tower of Babel, which Abdi has self-named with no prior knowledge or permission.
No, exactly. That's not a reference to anything.
Over the river of blood, and across the yellow brick road.
Around the Yellow Citadel.
Yes.
The Golden Citadel.
Yes,
whatever it's called.
Abinthy canonically doesn't like cities made of metal.
Oh.
He's had bad experience in every city he's ever been in that is made of a majority one type of metal. He's known as the Scourge of Dis, and he is banned from the City of Brass. And this one is just all made of bronze, and he's not looking forward to it. And the City of Dis is all made of iron.
No, see, okay, because isn't the City of Dis also in the Nine Hells?
Yeah, it's on the second layer.
Yes. Why are you been to the Nine Hells so much?
I date an Arc Devil, and she was like, hey, I want to take you on a tour of the Nine Hells. She got permission from her dad. And he was like, okay, fine, I guess, but this is just once. And she like took, but then something came up while they were on the second layer, and she had to go. And so Abinthy was just there, and you should never leave Abinthy alone in a new location. Stuff happens.
Have to keep Abinthy on a leash.
Glossia wasn't able to show back up, and she had to get re-permission to go back to the second layer from her dad. And it took like 2 to 5 months before she could show back up on the second layer of hell. And a lot of bad stuff, like Abinthy caused a lot of problems. And so he is now known as the Scourge of Dis. And is a wanted man on the second layer of hell. I've had this literally mentally. This is in the documents.
Only Abinthy could be a scourge on a layer of hell.
Well, yeah. Well, you see, they're devils, so they like law, and Abinthy is a force of chaos.
He is a force of chaos.
Abinthy does need a child leash. Like one of the backpacks that has
like the little little monkey backpacks.
Yeah. And then Abinthy has also been to war with all 4 of the elemental planes. And
right.
The City of Brass on the Plane of Fire was one of the big ones that he caused a lot of problems for them there. And so Abinthy doesn't like solid metal locations. It gives him like a bad vibe.
Well, it's a good thing we avoided it then.
Hey, I'm just saying, if we get back out of there, it's like we have to go to the brass place. Bad things are going to happen.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, we don't even need that, though. We just, literally, pretty much as soon as we get the dagger, we could literally just plane shift.
Yeah, I've got plane shift. We can get out of there.
It
does mean that I have to save my strongest spell to keep us alive.
I mean, does Apathy want to walk back through the whole layer of Avernus?
I don't know. It could be fun. Speaking of walking through Avernus, we teleport to the first layer.
Uh-huh.
Everything is bad.
Yeah.
We've got
Horrible.
sharp, stabby ground
Yep.
that just constantly tries to impale you. We've
Uh-huh.
got like little tricklets. That's one of my favorite like words for moving water is a tricklet.
A tricklet
It's
of
like
water.
not big enough to be a crick, but too small to be like a trickle, or too big to be a trickle, and so it's a tricklet. It's adorable. Tricklets of blood that all lead to the river of blood. We've got the river Styx, which
Yeah,
we
great.
which we passed. We've got
Mhm.
literal meteors and souls raining down from the heavens.
Uh-huh.
It's a bunch of
And
stuff.
somehow we managed to dodge all of them.
Yeah, probably just because teachers like, well, they probably actually have to make it to the location. It would really suck if everyone died.
It's really bad if like just because of the environment they just die.
Yeah, like
You know?
I want to make them like upset and sad that they're getting stabbed all the time, but I don't want to kill them.
Yeah, yeah. I
Like
can't
that's
kill.
not a good story. Could you imagine if like Frodo and Sam are like traveling through the mire
Uh-huh.
and then they both just fell into a pit and drowned?
And drown. Yeah.
Like
exactly.
halfway
they're,
through the book.
like, they're not, yeah, they're like just now halfway to Mordor,
Yeah.
and they just die.
Yeah, and it's like, well, that's
That
rough.
is DJ's one weakness is he very much wants a grand story.
Yeah. Oh my God, the storyteller. His one weakness is wanting to tell a good story. But yeah, we head through the first layer of Hell Avernus. A bunch of just gross stuff all the time.
Yeah.
If you're not a fan of gore, this is a rough episode. It's a rough one.
Yeah.
Um,
It is really bad.
but there was a
Really,
lot
really
of
gross.
really good like role play and some good jokes, some not as good jokes. Highs and lows, right?
Yeah, highs and lows.
lows. Sometimes you hit, sometimes you miss. It's like baseball.
That's right.
But
Like a 0.378 batting average
Yeah.
is really, really good.
yeah, 100%. It's like, what are you gonna do? But yeah, what like I know I have my personal favorite like role play moments that happen. Do you have any ones that really like stick out and come to mind for you?
I mean, overall for the whole episode, I thought Renai was really, really good, especially with the very beginning with getting the contract. I did enjoy the conversation that Abinthy and Cather had in regards to possibly like fixing his sword
Yes.
at some point.
Thanks for following up on that.
Uh-huh.
Because honestly, I was struggling because I knew that Abinthy and Cather talked, but for the life of me, I couldn't remember what either of us said.
What we talked
like,
about.
I don't know if my brain was present during that. I'm like, I remember
this
us
happened.
awkwardly not talking. I remember that part of the conversation.
Well, and so the reason that happened, because originally I was going to say anything, but it's kind of funny because nobody in game necessarily has experienced this, I guess, or like talked to Cather about it or realized it. But over these last 3 episodes, oddly enough, like all just in my head as Cather, he has come to a bit of a realization, because, and so that's like about in regards to like repairing a sword, which is why he talked to Anthony about it, because originally, like when you guys found him, like he had no intention of repairing a sword because he didn't think it was possible or worth it, right? However, with the talk around getting the dagger and the idea that everything is much more imminent, and much like the threats to the world are much more present right now than he realized, he's like,
No, I should probably.
crap.
I should probably
Maybe
do something like that.
maybe I should repair this sword. But
Ooh.
the problem is, right, is I can't, like right now he's kind of just testing the waters. He's like, hey, do you think this is possible? And like Apathy being like, oh yeah, I know a guy. It's like is good. The issue is like it's so Cather's sword being broken is directly tied to his broken oath. Him
Yes.
being an oath breaker. So the thing is, I can't actually pursue repairing his sword until
You have resolved to retake an oath or re-enter into an
mm-hmm,
oath.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, you know, on the bright side, I don't think that your sword. It's not like your sword isn't a normal sword, so it
Yeah.
isn't like we can just like throw it in a kiln, melt
Oh
it
yeah, yeah.
down, and just
And yeah,
pour it
just do
into
the
a
thing.
gosh dang
Yeah.
thing. Um, Now, at minimum, what you have done, which I
Mm-hmm.
thank you greatly for, is you have allowed access into more of Tripwood's backstory,
Oh yes, and
which
that was the
is
other thing I wanted to do too.
which I appreciate,
Yeah.
because I like Tripwitz and I like his backstory.
Yeah.
Um, and I figured that at some point in time, as I've said before, like I crafted his backstory to have hooks into other people's characters,
Right.
where it was like, oh yeah, this is the reason why we would investigate this part. Like it was revealed in this past episode that Talanashta,
Mm-hmm.
a character from a very important character in Abenthy's backstory, was a drow, which is like,
Mm-hmm.
oh hey, that's a talking point.
Right.
Um,
Something that hasn't gotten brought up between the two of them yet,
Absolutely, he
though.
doesn't
But
know yet, but you will once we meet Yorwick,
right. Yeah.
who's the smith, and would probably be willing to tell other people more about Talanasha and Abenthy and stuff like that. Um, Speaking of Talanasha, another
Mm-hmm.
fun little roleplay thing. I mentioned earlier that we went to the River Styx that
Yes.
crosses all through all nine hells. Um, uh, I got to have a little fun role play with
With Renaya.
Abenthy and Renaya
Yeah. That was really
and some
really good.
stuff. My favorite thing about it is that I just got to make it up.
Yeah.
Where it's
Oh,
like
100%.
where DJ's like, yes, you head to the River Styx and you become like kind of entranced and draw closer to the edge. All that Abenthy with like a 28. He's like, no. um, but I got to make up what Abenthy saw in the mists of the River Styx,
Right.
which was
Which well done.
yeah, I think that it went pretty well. I've been looking to find a way. Abenthy has three important stories to tell that kind of explain his backstory, explain who he is and why he is the way that he is, everything like that. The first story that was referenced was actually to the dragon boy,
Leshka.
Leshka. I don't know why I struggle so bad.
It's okay, it's
Also,
fine.
hello, Nlif. But yes, the first story, which is actually the second story that needs to be told, was referenced to Leshka. It is the story
Mm-hmm.
of the Mage Slayer of Avarice Hill. But
Right.
the first story in the trilogy, I guess, was told in this past episode. It was the Demon Butcher of Malkir,
Mm-hmm.
in which Abenthy basically, at the age of 17, single-handedly over the course of 2 months, murdered roughly 100 cultists efficiently and kind of went a little crazy doing it.
Mm-hmm. Just a little bit.
Yeah, like the reason they call him the Butcher of Malkir is because he would like hang the ones that he killed like meat from the trees to like warn the cult members that he was coming for them, which is like probably overkill. But
Yeah, it's just a
also,
little bit.
he's like a 17-year-old, and he's never done anything like this before, and he wants it to be like a story. First of all, second of all, like he really hates these people.
Uh-huh.
And third of all, by the time he started like doing that, he already wasn't exactly in the best state of mind. um, and
That in combination with, all of the adrenaline, he
yeah,
just kind of did
oh,
things.
100%. He was like living on the edge for like 2 months. And he's 17. Like, I cannot get across. Like, could you imagine if you were 17 and you had to systematically kill 100 people?
Uh-huh.
Like, you probably
That'd
wouldn't
be
be very good either.
mm-mm.
Like, very
No,
healthy. Um, but yeah, the only survivor of that cult, of the people that they had like captured and tortured and messed with, was Talanashta, which kind of provided him a lifeline to sanity because he's like, this wasn't all for nothing. I managed to save one person. Like, at least I didn't just kill a bunch of people and nothing good came of it.
Right.
To kind of explain his relationship with Talanashta. There was a very good conversation with Renaya, who brought up that she had been in a cult. Oh man, it's almost like I planned that.
Whoa, look at that.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like character backstories are linked in some way. Or at least provide talking points.
Right.
And I really liked how the conversation went because she brought up that she was like part of a cult, that their religion was murder. One of the things I enjoyed was that Abinthy was like, I can kind of understand that. Out of the 3 tenets, Handskate, you're right. But, like, out of the, like, ideals of Renaya's past cult family, where it's like, murder is freedom, or, like, death is freedom. And we are just taking it. We are taking the sacrifice to remain living while we carry you to paradise through murder. The first sentence, Abinthy's like, yeah, I could see that. Because there have been times where Abinthy is like, death would be a pretty good escape. Like, speaking of, like, when he was 17 going through that time, certainly wasn't, it didn't, like, not cross his mind. Like, at the end, he's like, oh, man, I'm going to kill this last family. And, whew, I am absolutely insane right now. But then the rest of it, he's like, no, you shouldn't go around murdering people. That's not good.
Right.
I also like that the conversation didn't end on like a resolution of like yes, we have discovered something new about us and each other, and we have really resolved. It was, I think Renaya was like, I don't think you understand. And Abinthy was like, yes, I don't think that anyone can ever truly be understood. And then it was like, the conversation's done.
And then the conversation just, yeah.
I love that.
I am curious if Abinthy and Cather would ever talk to each other about that, just because of his unique perspective on it too.
Of like death or
death and also that also the cults.
Oh yeah. Oh,
like Renaya's cult.
Renaya's cult.
Yeah.
Oof. I mean,
I feel like
if you want it, I can make that happen. Like, hey, Cather, I had a conversation with Renaya a little while ago, and
you're like
I just
the
have some
guy,
questions.
right?
I just, yeah, you deal with death garbage, right?
Oh boy,
it's also funny because he's got some severe beef with the gods of death anyway. Like, so he's like, yo, Cather, you loser, I have some questions, and you deal with those scumbags, right? Man, hate those people.
Although, see, I feel like that conversation would really need to wait until after Cather retook it, though.
Yeah.
You know.
Look, all good things come to those who wait.
Exactly, that's right. Patience is a virtue.
Yeah, I thought that it was a very informative and interesting conversation. I think that the story went well. And all around, I think that it did pretty well. I'm excited. I have a conversation that probably not next episode, because next episode we're going to be like Metal Gear Soliding like through a fortress, or just blowing it up.
I can get some combat.
No, I hope that we never fight. I hope that this entire chapter we just never have a combat.
Dude, it has hurt me so much that we've gone this long with no combat after recovering Cather. It hurts me so much.
I'm excited for it. And it'll never happen.
Yeah, that's right. It's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
I like combat too much, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why we're not gonna do it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
We're just going to avoid it so much because we're like, Drew's really hoping for this. Yeah,
Drew really wants to do this, so let's not do it.
We're done. We're done. But yeah, I'm excited. We got to the pit of maggots. It was gross. If you don't like,
real gross.
My favorite thing.
Even
so in the past when I run like horror stuff, I always try to make sure that like no one has anything that's like oh they really can't deal with it. Like I know Lydia really doesn't like very well described spiders or like gore stuff happening to her characters.
Mm-hmm.
Super not happening. Um, Grant hates maggots.
Uh-huh.
I've like had this conversation. I was like, "Is there anything like that?" It was the one shot where where Leshka was there,
Mm-hmm.
and you were like the zombie, like the mushroom zombies, and I was like, "Is there anything that you really don't like about like gross stuff? Like, there's some gross stuff in this one shot." Grant was like, "I guess like maggots like the worm themselves are not the problem, but like maggots in like an open wound or like on a like once like a now dead creature or something like that is super gross." And I was like, this is bad because there are definitely those things in this one shot that are like I didn't put them there. And he's like, no, leave them in because I hate it and that's good content. And so we get to the pit of maggots, which Grant was like, he on stream was like, I didn't think that it would be like actual maggots. And it's totally just actual, it's like huge maggots just everywhere.
And I don't know what would be worse if there would just be like just millions of like normal sized maggots or like the thousands of like 6-foot size maggots.
That's the thing.
I don't know
which
is
that
worse.
when you make the maggot bigger, it makes it less bad.
Yeah. Honestly. I agree.
Like that's what I say. I think that a lot of really small bugs is worse than like a few really big bugs. Now there are some exceptions because some bugs like you look at and they aren't that bad, and then you like zoom in on them and they are absolute freak shows.
Yes.
Like
yes, 100%.
Then it's a different story. But specifically with maggots, I think that they are less disgusting when they're really big.
Uh-huh.
I suppose that. Do you think that like if a giant dies, do they spawn giant maggots? Like is there like a breed of maggot that specifically feasts on giant flesh? This is free. If you in your game want to add giant maggots that specifically spawn around dying giants or dead giants,
there you go.
You have free license to do so. But yeah, we get to the pit. We're like doing there. I feel really bad. So there was a moment when we're at the pit when we're like, we need to find this dagger, and Renaya just chucks pockets down into the pit. I'm like, yo, hold on before you do anything. We've had a lot of time going up to this, and I would have brought it up earlier had I remembered that we were looking for an object. Because I love spells that are bad. And let me tell you, locate object is maybe one of the least used and worst spells in the game. So I was like, there's no way that anyone would willingly take this spell.
No way.
But this is the one time. And I was so excited because I'm like, this is the time where the thing that sucks gets to shine. And I don't have the capability to do it. But Renaya is a cleric, and they can just change out their spells willy-nilly. They don't care. They're just like, hey, God, give me now our daily bread and the spell locate object. And then I felt really bad because that's what Lydia was already doing. And I'm like, no. This isn't because I was like, oh, Lydia doesn't know how to play her character. I just legit thought there was never a point in time where I was like, yeah, they definitely took... That would be like taking protection against poison and disease, which I also did.
You did also do that. However, if Renai didn't take it, Cather also has locate object.
Why do you have locate object?
Because paladin spells are bad, and that's the paladin spell that I have.
That's so weird. I've played so many games of Dungeons and Dragons. No one ever takes locate object.
Well,
Also,
I mean,
hello TNE
I
network.
only used it like once in the entire campaign.
100%, and it probably didn't amount to anything.
No, it didn't. It was when Havel died.
Oh, nice.
Uh,
Um,
but yeah, but the thing is, the only reason I took it is because it's like it is one of those spells. It's like, okay, you're never gonna use it, but with the one time it comes up, it's gonna be super useful. And
absolutely.
also, paladin spells are just so bad.
Yeah, yeah. You really don't have a whole lot of options. The spell locate object is the equivalent to Oath of the Watchers, where it's
Hmm.
like 98% of the time this is going to be
Hmm.
useless, but
Yeah,
the 2% of the time that you need it, you
it's
really,
it's
really need it.
critical. Yeah.
Like this is necessary for your survival.
That's right.
Also, the giant larva turning into giant flies is also fantastic because sometimes I forget that larvae don't normally stay as larvae.
Yes. Yes.
So hey,
Maggots are just baby flies.
baby flies.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so we got to the edge of the pit. I felt really bad, but
Hey,
Lydia
it's all
is
good.
continuing to clutch it out as Renaya, having
Hmm.
all the right things in all the right places.
Her mini arc is turning out fantastically.
Absolutely. Um, and in the next episode, there were 7 nat 20s in Lydia's campaign yesterday. That's wild. Y'all are gonna have to fill us in more on the Discord about what
That's
exactly is happening because I hear like it bits and pieces every once in a while. Oh, also detect traps. Well, that's like I feel like they should just make it work because the spell like basically doesn't function.
oh, basic. It is literally yes. There are traps within like 30 feet of you. It doesn't tell you where within 30 feet or like
And I think
what.
and it does. I think it might tell you what type of trap it is. Um, but I'm not 100% sure.
It's such a oh, dude.
So like,
Tech traps.
depending on the trap that you find, it could be like I very clearly know exactly where this trap is, or it just doesn't help at all. There's like no in so even in the rare circumstance where you're like,
Oh no, it's not detect traps. It's find traps.
yes, find traps.
You sense the presence of any trap within range, and the range is 120 feet. That is it within line of sight. A trap for the purpose of this spell includes anything that would inflict a sudden or unexpected effect on you considered harmful or undesirable, which was specifically intended as such by its creator. Thus, the spell would sense an area affected by the alarm spell, with a warding, or
Mechanical pit
a
trap.
mechanical pit trap,
But if the
but it
floor
would
is
not
weak, it
reveal
doesn't do anything.
the natural weakness in the floor, an unstable ceiling, or hidden sinkhole. The spell merely reveals that trap is present. You do not learn the location of each trap, but you do learn the general nature of the danger posed by a trap you sense.
And which is also a very vague. Like, does it tell you, like falling, or is it like you will be dealt bludgeoning damage,
That's a great question.
which is entirely up to DM's discretion. So it's like you walk into like the Tomb of Horrors, and you're like, this is the time. Detect traps. Here we go, baby. And then you cast detect traps, and it goes stabbed, bludgeoned, slashed, poisoned, alignment, class. And you're like, what? Like, um, it's it's wild. Or if like, could you imagine you walk into a building and it's just old, like the building is just old, and you're like, oh, so this is the lair of my enemies. There may be traps nearby. And it's like you cast detect traps, nothing happens. You take 2 steps and fall through a hole in the floor. And the DM's like, no, it's not a trap. It's just old, which
It's
also
just an
does
old
not
house.
stand up to the court of law.
It's it's just termite damage.
Because let me tell you, there are laws in place. This is one of my favorite. This is one of my favorite stories that my business law teacher, Grandma Storytime, that's what she will go by, ever told me. And there's I don't even remember the name of the law or anything about it. But basically, you can't set traps in your house. It is a
Right.
felony So
Yes.
Home Alone is incredibly illegal. Um, and they put that in place for a number of reasons, because the law states if you have a defect in your house. So let's say one of your steps, and you know this, one of your steps is broken, and if you step on it wrong, it will collapse and you will plummet 15 feet and probably break several bones. If you know that, and you invite someone into your home, you must warn them very explicitly. You must say, hey, this, if you step on this and you break your limb, like, it will hurt, like, the floor will break. If you don't, and they step on that and then fall and then they hurt themselves, you are incredibly liable. But if someone is illegally entering your premises, you are under no obligation to tell them. So that way, if someone attempts to rob you and they step on that step and break 5 limbs, and they only have 4, so I don't know what the 5th one is, it's not your problem. You are not held liable for them breaking into your house and hurting themselves. And then people took advantage of that in, I think, California. So they would set up spring guns to their windows, where if you open the window, it would pull the trigger on a rifle and just blast people. They would, like, hook them up in front of doors and stuff. And the thing is, sometimes they would, like, forget to disarm them, or someone who didn't know about it would legally enter the house and then get shot. And so, like, people were dying. And they were like, we need to make a law that says you can't purposely make defects in your house to harm potential people who would be illegally entering your house. Because, yeah, there were a lot of people ending up in hospitals. So Home Alone, absolute, it's just a story of a young felon. And yeah, and so if you enter into D&D, and now it does bring into, I would love a, like, Dungeons and Dragons, like, police, like a D&D PD, where you just play it, like, what are the legal ramifications of this? Because if someone is illegally maintaining a residency in a location, are they still held liable if you enter the location and fall prey to a badly maintained residence? Especially if you did get legal permission to enter it. So if you, like, go to a judge, you're like, I need a warrant to enter this house.
Right.
And they're like, yes, wizard, gosh dang, Diazepam. Of course. Here is your warrant. So you are now legally entering the house because you have a warrant. You entered it into the house. You then fall because there's termite damage, and you fall 15 feet and injure yourself. Can you then not only arrest the bad people in the house, but also charge them for not informing you that there was badly maintained property? This is the type of Dungeons and Dragons I want to play. I want entire sessions where I'm just like, members of the jury. like where it's just a legal battle for like 3 episodes, where the DM's just like, yes. Oh geez, I'm trying to think. First of all, if you ever need names of wizards, just use medication. Judge Tylenol has taken the stand. Like, and then this, like, your character is just like, we've got him. And we're like, or even worse, or better, perhaps. They're like, there's no way we can convict him. Our adventurers entered before they got a warrant, so none of our evidence can be legally considered. It's all contraband. It has to be stripped from the record. And then, like, someone busts through the door and they're like, I would like to add evidence to the scene of the crime. And we're like, our saving grace. Like, you just need to stall for long enough for one of the other characters to get evidence.
Right,
for
yeah,
you to, like, actually convict this lich or whatever. This is necromancy without a permit. This is, like, my favorite type
illegal
of
lichdom.
Absolutely.
Oh,
and they're
man,
like, thank you very much. He has a license. You're like, that license expired in the year 34.
It's the year 37 right now.
You absolutely emphasis on did have legal right to practice necromancy, but as a lich, you should know that every 2,000 years you must renew your license. Like, and thank you very much. We are 2001 years since your last renewal. Tardiness is no excuse. They just slap the book on him, hit him with the book. Literally, I would love to have like a legal textbook that I would send to my players. So they would have to be like, actually, according to the laws of like the Waterdeep laws, according to bisection 37 subsection C, no, in fact, this adventurer did not have permission to kill this goblin. Like, the bounty was taken previously. They must forfeit any earnings back to the state. Like, this is peak. Look, you may not agree it, but this is what peak Dungeons and Dragons looks like. Just litigation.
That's right.
That's my type.
That would be fun. It'd be hard convincing the others of it, I think, but yeah.
Is the kid the BBEG? Is the kid like? Are you talking about a baby goat? Because potentially it could be like a form of Satan, because Satan is often represented by a goat.
I think he's talking about the kid from
from Home Alone? Yes.
100%.
Look, they were criminals, but they didn't deserve that.
Yeah. I've never actually watched Home Alone.
One of them straight up gets electrified to the point where you can see a skeleton. That is assault. That is absolutely illegal. Also, who taught this kid? What? Macaulay Culkin. What's going on here?
He's just a really, really smart kid.
It's unreal. See, except he's too dumb to call the police.
Well, no.
Or
it's
is
not
it like the
too
electricity?
He's too dumb to call. No. He's having too much fun with them.
Oh yeah, but that doesn't help his case.
I know. I'm not.
That just makes him sadistic.
Yes, I'm on your side with this one.
He's like, yes. First, I'm going to hit them over the head with full-on bricks. He's just going to throw bricks at them from above. He's just going They may get arrested, but they have a very clear court case on hand.
Oh right? Yeah, that kid's definitely getting sued.
Like, that is, and also, let's not even get into Home Alone 2, where he identity theft. Thievery, just abject thievery, and then multiple accounts of assault, attempted manslaughter. Like, look, the kid's going to jail. Sorry, I know you like the movies, but the reason he didn't make it on the plane is because he's in prison. Like, they didn't forget him. He is not allowed to leave the country or the state. He's at minimum on house arrest. Like,
yeah.
Also, even if he isn't convicted of anything, at the end of this, he will need therapy. Like, someone attempts to rob you and then you beat them to within an inch of their life multiple times. The kid's not okay. Fantastic Dungeons and Dragons character, though. Fantastic Dungeons and Dragons character.
Oh man.
And but they were like going to like tie up the kid and like use him for ransom. That's like illegal. But like, I don't think that I'm pretty sure the law, like, yeah, I mean, it's probably self-defense, but you have to be very, self-defense is a tricky situation. It's like if so self-defense, if you like let's say someone comes at you with a knife and you manage to disarm the knife from them and you stab them in the front and then it's like, that's self-defense. But if they turn around and run, then you are charged because you hit them in the back and they were fleeing. I guarantee you that this was not self-defense from Macaulay Culkin. No court of law would hold this. Now he's a minor, so he's probably getting off. But if like he was, if Macaulay Culkin was 18, prison for life. Like, not a chance. Yeah. Yeah, it does kind of use video game rules where it's like, yes, you broke into my house and smashed all of my pots and stole all of my wealth, but you're the main character, so what am I going to do, right?
Uh-huh. Oh boy.
Oh my goodness. Maz, we just need to channel that energy into our game because we don't do well.
Yeah, it does.
I think we've been doing better chapter 2 in terms of numbers rolled on dice.
Yeah.
But that also
Overall,
might just
I would
be
agree.
it might also just be that we have bigger numbers.
Well, I think Abathia has single-handedly brought up the average because somehow you can no longer roll below a 10 on average.
I have good numbers. See, the thing is, I've been avoiding all of the stats that I'm really bad at. So like I'm just like, oh, an athletics check, I'm just not going to participate. But then it's like anything to do with intelligence, and I'm like, I'll take my plus 15, sir.
No, thank you, sir.
So yeah, I'm who boy, Abinthy. Abinthy has big numbers. My favorite part of Dungeons and Dragons, big numbers.
Big number.
But we have another show to talk about.
We do, yes.
I was like, where am I going to transition? Wednesday nights.
Between the rows, sins
of the Father.
Honestly, I have to remember what happened because
it was fighting the
today was
golem.
episode 4.
Yeah.
So that was yes, that's right. That was actually
Fighting the
fighting the
golem.
golem.
So, to sum up what's been all going on, 4 episodes. First episode, we meet the cast, we do some like character, like extra character building stuff, which is like the staple of Between the Rows. They all go to the mall. A bunch of messed up stuff happens. Combat begins. Episode 2, combat occurs in the mall. Fiery demons from CJ, Drew's character's past and brain, spawn and start murdering people. Straight up, DJ's character flat out dies.
Yep.
They managed to resurrect him because, gosh dang, Grant's character is an absolute G.
Uh-huh.
We then proceed. They go and they're like, yo, what's going on? What's happening? Episode 3, they make their way to the Patterson farm, which is currently being owned and managed, if you could call it managed, by a certain past character. Bev Winchester. Got it. Took me a second. EA Sports. It's in the game. Thank you. The fact that you think that my voice sounds anything like the guy who says EA Sports is in the game means a lot to me.
It's been a while since I've heard that actually. Like
EA Sports. It's in the game. I wish I could be that guy. But I'm not that guy. But at the Patterson farm, some stuff is revealed. They figure out some things. It turns out that the ash tree that is in the real world is not the one where they need to be at. Instead, They need to go to the in-between, which they don't know how to do. So they have to go find Grant to get directions. Grant is downtown. They head downtown at the end of episode 3. One of the buildings that is across the street from where Grant is full on comes to life and starts just tearing up the street. That's what happens in this last episode. They fight a building golem. I've gotten very positive reviews from several of the characters that don't like combat, aka Grant and Lydia, that this was a very entertaining combat for them. I'm sure it was slightly less so for you, Drew, in some regards.
In some regards, but that's fine.
Mainly because
I made that choice
for 2 rounds of combat.
Yeah,
but
I wasn't present for the first like hour and like a half.
Hey, you got to roll a d10 and kill civilians.
The correction, I got to roll a d10 and save civilians.
You did both. You got the first d10 roll.
Yeah,
because you weren't there.
I did exactly both because I rolled a 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I hear someone outside my door, but I'm not sure who it is. Maybe they're doing laundry. Maybe that's what's going on.
Laundry.
I'm like, is that Grant? What's happening here?
Why is happening?
But yeah, so that was a bit of a bummer. You weren't there for the first 2 rounds. But there was a lot going on this combat. A lot of things that weren't necessarily just like hit it with a stick or shoot it with a gun. There was a lot of popping things going on. First of all, there were civilians that were in incredible danger and needed to either be saved or just left alone and let to die, which you could do. There's zero negative ramifications.
Except for, just on our conscience,
Morals.
knowing that we let people die.
Yeah, that you as people decided these other living creatures in my character's life don't deserve to live.
That's right.
And the creature also had a passive barrier. So the barrier prevented X amount of damage whenever it was dealt damage. Just in general. Think if you've ever played Curse of Strahd. Strahd has a heart in a tower that absorbs up to like 250 damage before it like ceases to function. What are you doing? Can you hear that?
No. Well, a little bit.
Oh my god.
Very, very quietly. Oh, I heard that.
Are they beating someone to death outside this door? Like, I'm like, what is going on here? Did a bear break in?
Speaking of Home Alone.
Absolutely. It's time for me to string up some full paint cans from the rafters. But yeah, so I got to do one of my favorite things, which is to take lore that is like real world lore. And then turn it into a D&D type mechanic, which is, first of all, I love golems. Like, D&D golems are lame compared to real life golems. Straight up. Golem, and I say this in game, like everyone knows it. If you've seen the episode or played, I'm going to repeat it in case you haven't. Golem, the word, means something akin to raw material. And it is believed that, or the kind of lore goes, that the first golems were made by God as a template for mankind. And then Rabbi were capable of making new golems by one of two ways. Either they would write emet on their head, which means like history or something like memory or something like that. And then in order to turn off the golem, they would just erase the first letter, E, or it's in Jewish, so it's not emet, like it's not those letters, but turn it to met, which just means death, and then it would turn off. Or they would put a shem in its mouth, which contained like literal words of God. And then in order to turn off the golem, they would just remove the shem, kind of like a key for a car. And the thing about it is that they were always like pretty fine and dandy, and they were like meant to protect like the Jewish people from like persecution. But they almost always had like specific rules for running them, which is like you can't have them running 7 days a week. They must like you must turn them off on like Sunday, the day of rest. Like that's a very common one. And often, almost all the time, someone would forget to do that, and then they would just go on a rampage and like burn Prague. Like that's like one of the times that, is it Prague? Prague? Like the place?
Yeah, I think that's how it's spelled.
My brain says Prague, but that's definitely wrong. So I'm gonna say Prague.
It is Prague. Yeah.
Like one of the times Prague was burned, it was blamed on a rampant golem. Like that some priest just forgot to turn it off on a Sunday, and then it was like, all right, it's absolute madman time. We're just going crazy.
It's just he's a worker going on strike.
Yep, you know? And supposedly it still like remains somewhere in the city, waiting to be like found and revived to protect the like Jewish people. There is a confirmed golem in New York.
Oh.
Like it is like a statue that is registered as like this is a Jewish golem. They're super super awesome. And so that same concept I used in game as the shem, that is the like lifeblood of this golem, the thing that keeps it alive, was also protecting it. And so in order to deal it a bunch of damage and get rid of that passive barrier, you could just hit it really hard. but no matter what you did, it would subtract 25 from the damage you dealt. So you had to hit it really hard. Also, the Shem prevented critical hits from working.
Yeah,
so it would still hit, but you wouldn't get the crit damage. Yeah. So it's even harder to break that 25 damage shield. Until you removed the Shem, which DJ's character managed to do very well. It was a very cool, like, climbing up to the pits. Also, I remember the name of the movie that I referenced, where, like, volcanoes are erupting and like the person wades through the lava and like throws the survivor before he dies. The movie it's from 1997. It's called Eruption. It is brutal.
Yes.
There's it's like this lady who's a scientist is like, oh my god, volcanoes are straight up going to erupt, and everyone's like, you are crazy, there are no volcanoes here. And she's like, well, that's not what the things say. So she gets her family and like gets them prepped to leave. Volcanoes start exploding. One of the most memorable scenes, they're like crossing this lake, and because of the eruptions and all the like stuff that is coming out of these volcanoes, the lake has turned to like acid, and they only realize it as they're like halfway through the lake, as it starts to like eat through their boat. And so they get to like 3/4 of the way across, and they're like, we're not gonna make it, we're gonna sink. And the grandma straight up yeets out of the boat and pushes them through the acid lake to land before she like dissolves and dies in the lake. And they're like, oh my god,
dude, like, it is
hardcore.
I did not know that was in that movie,
dude. It's wild, bro.
That's dark.
Like there's just a bunch of scenes where like people do good stuff and save other people's lives, and they just die, like in brutal, gruesome ways.
Yeah, I knew about the I haven't seen the movie, but I know the scene of like the like when they're like in the like some sort of like subway tunnel or whatever, and like there's lava in there.
The subway.
and like he throws the kid, and then he like just melts away and like gives like a thumbs up.
Yeah,
like that's where that whole like reference comes from.
Well, no, that's from Terminator.
Is it? I thought he also did it in that movie.
No. The scene is he's like carrying this woman through a subway, and first of all, fantastic like cinematography, because they show the like rubber of the soles of his shoes melting as he walks, like it like sticks to the floor. And he's like, he's almost to the caboose, and then there's like the train car in front of him like collapses and sinks into the lava. And there's like a train car gap between him and the like end, like the safe zone. The woman's unconscious, so she can't do anything. And a train car that's a big gap. Like that's a big thing. And so he preps up, and he's like not like athletic either. He's just like a big like police officer, like train car cop. He like preps, he like jumps, and it's this like slow motion jump and then he only makes it like halfway. And he like lands in it, and he's just like, ah! And then he's just like struggling as like his body burns which also he would already be dead. If you get that close to lava, you just start on fire. Like you have to wear full protective suits to not get 3rd-degree burns. But for the movie's sake.
But yeah, for the movie's sake.
And so he like takes like 5 steps and then just like and just throws her to safety, and then like crumples and burns beneath the lava. It's a really good movie. It is very intense though. Lot of death. Turns out volcanoes. There's a reason Pompeii got Pompeii'd. Like volcanoes are serious stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, episode 4, Between the Rows, that's what we were talking about. DJ manages to pull the Shem out of its mouth. Does a whole bunch of damage to it. Lydia gets the killing blow with her umbrella rapier. And then it almost kills as like a death explosion. Yes. It almost kills Grant, which is what it's been trying to do since the beginning for reasons that may or may not be revealed in the episode following.
Yes. I mean, we all know the reasons, but...
Yeah. Shoots a beam at Grant's character. Devin. Good old Devin. Sacrifices the bod. Straight up throws himself in front of the beam, gets eviscerated. And then, because he's an NPC, doesn't get saving throws. But I'm like,
he just dies.
I wanted to kill Devin. Because everyone knows I built Devin up as a nice character.
Well, of course. All of us, literally, from the first time we saw Devin,
we're like, Devin's dying.
Devin's dying. He's too perfect.
He's too much of a soft, sweet boy. Now, here's the thing. If I give the possibility, the chance that Devin lives to the players, I don't kill Devin. You kill Devin. Which just makes it so much better. So if I go, hey, Grant, roll a d20 for me, and then he biffs it, that's on Grant's head. Mm-hmm. Not mine. I gave you the chance. I gave you the option.
Yeah, that's right.
But Grant manages to succeed, and Devin becomes an adventurer in D&D terms. So he gets death saving throws now. He's able to be revived and
he's
stuff.
Now level 1.
Yep, he's a level 1 something.
He's
probably just like a fighter.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't get anything fancy.
Nah. Yeah.
At most, he's like a... No. Oh, my goodness. Devin's probably a nature domain cleric. Or like a...
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's not a druid. Well, he could be a druid. No, but because he wouldn't want to turn into animals. But I'm going to say nature domain cleric. I feel like that's very Devin.
That feels like it would fit.
Where it's like, you could literally play any other nature-based class and be better than this. That's very Devin. Mm-hmm. But they managed to save Devin. They all get together and they start heading towards Sawyer Blakely's old hangout, the entrance to the in-between that they're looking for. And yeah, things are blowing up. Is it revealed? Is Crowbar's thing revealed the episode after? Yeah, it's referenced in this episode, but it isn't revealed, so I won't say anything about that. Uh-huh. But yeah, it was I liked the episode, obviously.
Yes.
I'm always looking for ways to improve. So is it a perfect combat? No.
No.
Was it a bad one?
I thought it was excellent. I thought it was really, really good. It was very interesting, very unique, I'd say.
I will say that even though you didn't have a whole lot of time in the combat, your turns were some of the most efficient turns. They were long, but in terms of things done, they were very efficient turns.
Yes. Well, because basically the nice thing about not being in combat the first like 2.5 rounds, it gives you time to think. You know, it's like, all right, what needs to happen? What should I do? What can I do?
Yeah.
So literally, I'm just like, okay, I'll just do. I have movement, action, bonus action, plus Vincent. All right, great. These are the things I do. Boom, 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 boom.
Done,
great.
Done. And because of Vincent, you have very good turn economy, like power, because you basically get 2 turns in a way. Like you get 1.5 turns.
1.5 turns. Yeah.
I loved that. What's Hoodie's character's name? It's not Sawyer Blakely.
It's not Sawyer Blakely. Oh shoot, Clara.
Clara's mom's there.
Yeah,
which I think is pretty great. Like,
I love. Okay, so in my mind, I find this scene I find it extremely like amusing, if like funny, all the words. The idea that like the first thing that CJ does, he shows up, right? He's like, crap, everything is terrible. Okay, well, here, Clara, take this. I'm going to take your mom and get her out of here.
Mm-hmm. I got you this present. Also, I'm going to remove your mom from the dangerous situation. Then I'm going to come back and maybe do something.
That's right.
And then you just absolutely roid up, haste yourself into existence.
Uh-huh.
Oh! You just start screaming and shooting guns.
Yes, I forgot. I forgot I hasted myself as well. So so literally just like,
like
and then I loved her, like Claire's mom's reaction after like CJ got her out of there and like parked like in the nearby Hy-Vee. She's like, "Oh hey, I made it to Hy-Vee."
Yeah, like her whole thing was like, she's really busy, but I have enough time to go buy groceries, and so she goes, and then like she's driving to downtown, and then a building explodes. She's like, "Oh, hey, look, there's Clara and our friends. I should say hi." And then like like a whole building like busts out, and she's like, "I'm just going to pull into a parking spot. I'm gonna take some deep breaths, do my breath training. I'm just gonna. It's fine. I've been around the embalming fluid for too long. It'll pass in a little bit."
I'm seeing things.
And then like you get into the car and drive her, and she's like, "No, the person who's dating my daughter is no, he's not driving me anywhere. This is in my mind. I'm gonna open my eyes and everything will be normal." She opens her eyes, she sees IV, and she's like, "Yes, that is what I plan to do, and I'm not going to turn around. I'm not going to investigate anything. I'm just going to walk in." So like as the employees are clearly evacuating the store, she's just running around like, "Ooh, hey, look, a can of cream of chicken. Good, I'll make some soup with that."
Oh, look, there's a discount on milk today.
Oh, fantastic! I should pick that up. And Clara just loves these gummies, and they're on sale too. So I'm gonna. She's like putting things in a basket of people like on fire running around her. Also, Handskate, because you're here, that soup is incredible. It turned out I was making soup while we were streaming the episode. From a recipe that was given to me through the Discord. Our Discord's really cool. You should be there. It turned out really, really well. It took like 45 minutes to make, and like maybe $20, and it has like 5 servings.
Oh, nice!
Like,
wow.
And it's some good stuff. The cayenne was a game changer. Like cayenne just pushed it over the edge.
Mm-hmm.
I was messaging a group chat of like my friends from high school. And I was like, I sent a picture and I was like, "I made soup." They're like, "Yo, dog, that's some soup." And then I was like, "Yeah, cayenne's a game changer." They're like, "Oh man, you put cayenne in it?" Straight up, I didn't think it's all right, Chef Gordon Ramsay. I'm like, "Yeah, it had cayenne, paprika, and like I just list off all these spices." They're like, "Good God, did you like raid the spice section?" I'm like, "Yeah, I fought an old lady to death for a can of cream of chicken." Like we had this whole narrative of like, I will meet this valiant warrior. I lost a leg. It was really hard to drive away from the Hy-Vee after I lost a leg.
It is actually called cream of chicken, right?
Yeah, cream of chicken soup.
See, I find that very amusing that it's called that instead of like, I don't know, like chicken's cream soup or like
because that's
cream
gross.
chicken soup.
Cream
of chicken.
Yeah. Chicken cream soup sounds disgusting.
Even though it would mean the exact same thing.
I mean, yeah, but it's the same thing as like, you know how when you palm a ball, like you palm like a basketball?
Yeah.
Your palm actually doesn't make contact with the ball, but calling it fingering a basketball is really gross, even though that's probably more accurate. So you call it palming a basketball.
I suppose. I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, Drew, don't make it weird.
Hey, I'm just saying. Well, see, the thing is, I enjoy the fact that it's called cream of soup. I just find it amusing because that seems like such a for a guy who uses too many words often. That feels like using too many words but it's acceptable.
Yeah. So this should be right up your alley. I did encounter an issue that I didn't expect, where I was like, I need to fry up this bacon to top and put in this soup. And then I realized that I didn't have anywhere to put the grease, because you can't dump grease down the sink, especially not our sink, because our sink does not do sink well. It's a bad sink.
Our sink doesn't sink good.
It doesn't sink well.
That's funny.
And so I'm just sitting there and I have this pan with bacon grease, and I'm like, I'm not saving this, because in the words of my friend Gabe, those who save bacon grease are heathens. And so I'm just sitting there with this pan of bacon grease, and I'm like, I don't have anything to put this in. But I uncovered a solution, also thanks to Gabe, which was put it in the empty can, and then put the can, aluminum foil with a paper towel or harden you can throw away. That's smart, Handskate. I'll do that next time, because I don't have cans.
Yeah, we normally, so typically what we do is like, if we can, we like if it's a lot, like we'll dump it into like a bag or something, and then we'll with paper towel, like wipe up the rest of it and just like throw it away.
Yep. Because Because yeah, I can wipe the rest of it off, but like I just didn't know what to do with the grease. Yeah, Pooper, you are a heathen. Yeah, just get rid of your bacon grease. Get out of here. Also, hello Rudolph. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, it was really good soup. Really, really good soup.
Dude, that honestly, you talking about soup it just made me realize how hungry I am
I
right
like
now.
soup.
Actually,
I love
and
soup.
like soup sounds real good right now.
I know people that don't like soup, and frankly, I don't like them. Like that's a deal breaker. Like if I went on to like a dating site and in the profile of someone, I was like, oh my god, they're 10 out of 10. They go from like it's like have you seen the videos where it's like they're 10, but and if the but is they don't like soup, they're a 0. It's an instant drop. Yeah. So is chili a soup? I would consider chili a soup. Yes.
Yes, I would also consider chili too. What do you do if you make bacon for breakfast? You cook the rest of the breakfast in the bacon grease, like pancakes, eggs, French toast.
I mean, it does sop up the grease. I will also say, Maz, you should definitely get checked out for like having just way too much bad stuff in your blood, because that's your
yeah, I will say, Maz.
Everything is going to be clogged.
When we do breakfast, so there are times that we cook like the eggs, in the same pan that we use like the bacon. But like, if there's like an excess amount of bacon grease, like we'll get some of that out beforehand. But like the eggs, we'll do like in the bacon grease. I don't think like pancakes or like toast. That's a little gross for me. But hey, whatever works.
See, this is what happens when you save your bacon grease.
Also, Hanskate talking about chicken tortilla, that reminded me of the fact that she's talking about a soup. However, my mom made chicken enchiladas the other day for her small group, and she brought home leftovers last night. And
dog, enchiladas are a game changer.
Dude, enchiladas are so great. I love my mom's enchiladas. That's why I had them at my graduation party.
I'm really sad because there's a Mexican restaurant that I really like, and they're really affordable. I considered doing that, but it wasn't in the recipe, so I didn't.
Cook your onions and peppers down in it.
Yeah.
Ooh, interesting.
I considered, but no, it isn't Michael's. But I really like the restaurant. They have they have really good quesadillas and everything. But for some reason, I don't know what it is, but I'm allergic to something that they cook. But I have yet to figure out what it is.
Are you talking about like the Mexican, like the downtown one? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the one by the GameStop. I really like it, but I got enchiladas. I got a cheese and a chicken enchilada with red sauce. And something I couldn't eat it. I got one bite and like my throat was itching so bad. I'm like I was eating the cheese enchilada, and I have no idea what the problem is. I don't know what they do, but I spent like $9 and I was only able to eat one bite. It made me really sad. Their beans and rice is incredible though.
That is unfortunate.
It was a sad day for Aaron. Do we have anything else that we want to talk about, Drew?
Let's see. Well, we've stalled for an hour and a half.
Yeah, I mean, we've been delivering good content for an hour and a half. Thank you very much, Drew.
Yeah, exactly. I never said it was bad stalling. It was, let's see. What have we not talked about yet? What rant have we not gone on yet?
Twilight. Like that's the standard.
I suppose. Well, let's see. I mean, talked about the main campaign episode. I'm excited for next episode for the main campaign. I think it'll be really, really good. I hope everything works out for Renaya.
I hope that it doesn't. I think that's better content.
Well, Renaya's had a hard enough time, you know.
Yeah. That's the
that
role
is that is the main. Yes, that's you're right.
Things are bad for Renaya. That's the standard.
I am really excited about the finale. Recording the finale tonight. For Between the Rows.
I am as well.
I also am like thinking about it now though. Like it also at the same time I hope I'm sure all of us will, like, once we really get into it, like start playing, like can really like deliver and get into it. Just because I know like 4 hours is gonna be a pretty long amount,
I don't know if
since the
it'll for sure be
finale
4.
is.
I know that it'll be at least 3,
Yeah, yeah.
but I'm
Um,
fine with like we don't have to like push it. That I want it to be like natural. So
right. Yeah,
if
yeah,
we
for
don't get
sure.
to 4 hours, that's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty excited. I've
Yeah.
got some things planned. I have like one of the things that I've been working on, which you saw a little bit with the episode last night,
Mm-hmm.
is puzzle esque combats.
Mm-hmm.
Combats that, in order to like, you can succeed just by fighting the enemy. So, and that will
Mm-hmm.
help even if you choose the other path. So, for
Mm-hmm.
those who really love shooting things and the hit and stuff like that, they get to do those. They get to use their big numbers and roll big dice. For those who
Mm-hmm.
really aren't that interested, there's
Oh,
like checks that they can make and puzzles that they can solve that also assist and bring down the collective health bar, I guess.
that Aaron, that did remind me of a thing that I need to talk to you about related to the between the rows,
Mm,
but we can't do so on stream because it's from
the next
episode
episode.
5.
And
Yeah,
I've got you. I think I know what it is, and I've got you.
yeah.
I've
But
got it pretty much figured out. In like an hour of time, I can get you a full information.
nice, great, good to
Um,
know. But yeah, but really, really excited. Hope it goes well. Also a little nervous because this it can go in many different directions, like and but that's kind of a classic for Between the
oh
Rows,
yeah, got a lot of things planned. See, I was thinking about it because one of the hard parts about this season, and I've mentioned it before, is that
Mm-hmm.
killing people is a bit harder than it normally would be for me because I
Mm-hmm.
have to like resolve as a storyteller. I
Mm-hmm.
need to actually resolve a story,
Right.
but as the like context of Between the Rows, I want I want carnage.
Right.
I want that to happen. So that conflict has been like, how do I kill them but like still complete the story because all of them are necessary parts? The solution is to just kill all of you. Like, don't just kill one, just total party wipe. Just get them all. So I've got one episode left to do it.
I mean, hey, the finale is the best time to do it.
That look, and that would be the first TPK in Paper Dungeon history. So
It would be the first TPK.
could
Although
you
we came
imagine?
real close to a TPK in season 1.
Yeah, could you imagine if we had like a like we're like, yeah, this is going to be a 6 episode like mini series, and then it's like, well, actually, it's only going to be 3 because Aaron TPK'd us in episode 3, so
Almost happened.
it would be pretty great. Um, but yeah,
Oh boy.
now
Yeah.
I will say, so just a little bit of behind the scenes stuff for planning for TPD and like the things that we have planned for like Patreon and all that. So we are going to be monthly recording a little side one shot or something akin to that,
Mm-hmm.
both as a preventative safety measure for us, where like
Right.
if something comes up and it's like, oh shoot, we can't stream today, we have a little one shot that we already have pre-recorded to run that doesn't require me to frantically run around and look through books.
Right.
But if we don't have to use it for that, which theoretically we shouldn't most of the time,
Most of the time.
that will be uploaded to Patreon. So Patreon monthly little extra things on top of the like, that's going to be a continuous monthly thing, and then
Mm-hmm.
every once in a while we'll have specific things that like if I'm like, hey, I really want to run a one shot of this new RPG,
Right.
put it on the Patreon. So like
Right.
we'll have
Uh-huh.
pre-planned things for that, special things, and then a monthly like one shot that will run that will only be on the Patreon. We're not going to release that to subscribers. Patreons only. That's what you get. I mean, you get more than that, but you,
Yeah.
especially you, are the only ones who get it.
So, Handskate, who's been making fun of us for not having Patreon content,
Yeah,
we
you
we
are
got
correct
you.
for
We got a
making fun of
plan.
us.
We we kind of know what we're doing, kind of.
I'm excited to see it. But as a little teaser, because the next Thursday is when we'll be recording this, Drew will be taking care of it. Drew, you're DMing, right?
I am DMing. The
Um,
first Patreon one shot.
yeah, no pressure,
Well, I mean, technically, it's not the first one shot for
but
Patreon,
it's the
but
first of this like ongoing monthly
of
kind of thing.
this kind of, yeah, exactly. So it'll be fun.
Um,
The players. I hope my players enjoy it. I get to talk to them. I'm going to talk to them about it tonight after we record the finale. So
I am already excited for it. As a little spoiler, I am going to be playing a multi-classed bard paladin of unknown subclasses, but I'm very excited
really
about
Aaron talked to me about it before we went live
it.
today, and it's, oh my god, it's so good. Aaron, in case you guys didn't know this already, I don't know how you wouldn't know this, but in case you don't, Aaron is amazing with characters and
I
like
try.
planning out characters. Uh, it's insane how well he does this. And so his character alone makes me excited for my one shot.
um, Maz, let me tell you, that comment is similar to what I'm going with, except it's a church choir boy who is also on a crusade. So like take like a Warhammer 40k Space Marine and then put their church choir boy. Done. Character
Okay,
created.
let's see. So also, I need help. New homebrew world from scratch or rework a lore I've made for current homebrew.
A whole new homebrew world is really difficult.
That's tough.
That's
Yeah.
like that's a like you are putting yourself on a journey
Yeah.
if you want to do that. I would recommend reworking lore if you don't like it, but if you do love it, if you really think that you have fully encapsulated your world, then you can start on a new one.
Yeah.
Keep it written down, keep the docs.
Yeah, but... and like because like something that I know, at least I do, I know this ended up happening with DJ with Nika Miras, right? Is like DJ took years of developing Nika Miras with Ryan, Ryan Urita. And so like it's very fleshed out and like is definitely is going to be like the world that he uses for the next decade for D&D stuff.
Yeah.
Like I've kind of done a similar thing of like pretty much since high school, all of my stuff that I've developed or DM'd and stuff has been in the same kind of world. Just because I understand kind of the rules that my world follows. And going through the process of remaking a whole new world is a little daunting because it takes time.
Absolutely.
I play unless you just really like it.
I've mentioned before, I have an online game. The DM is crazy. He's been playing in the same lore-wise universe since AD&D. Like first edition. He has systematically changed the lore of the world, but kept so he like when a new edition comes out, something canonically in his world occurs to change it to the new setting.
Right. He basically does what like comics do, where like every time that there's a new retcon, like there's an event that happens that rewrites the history of the world.
Absolutely. But the remnants of the previous editions still exist. So like in earlier editions of Dungeons and Dragons, I was going to mention, by the way, I would consider chili more of a stew than a soup, but I would still consider stew a subtype of soup. So
right, it is all a part of the soup family.
And the real question is chili a salad? Is it a meat salad or like a meat and bean salad? That's the question.
We actually so side thing at the restaurant I used to work at in high school, we served a taco salad, and it got served like automatically with chili on it. So
I'm just saying.
You know, could be a thing.
But like in previous editions of there's a chili with beans in it. That's the chili that I know of. It's not good chili, but I do know of chili with beans in it.
Oh yeah, I thought that was kind of a default of chili.
Most chilies
I know
have beans in it. I think it's a Midwest thing. I think Midwest people were like,
it's like how we eat cinnamon rolls with our chili.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Hey, also Rudolph, I like beans. Okay, beans are good. Also, never talk smack about beans around Grant because Grant loves beans.
See, so I do find it kind of funny because one of the things, because like personally speaking, I don't really like chili as much because of the fact that it has beans in it.
I mean,
Uh,
yeah. In that
because
case,
I don't like beans, which I so like
oh, Maz
like
is
the idea that there's
freaking out
chili.
about the cinnamon rolls and chili. Yeah, Hanskate can tell you,
Uh
um,
huh.
straight
Uh huh.
up, Runza,
Yep.
the like Nebraska only thing sells cinnamon with chili. That's like a selling point of
Yeah.
the thing. That's like what they
Yeah.
do.
Like that's kind of like during like fall Christmas season, like basically chili and cinnamon roll, or if you don't like chili as much, chicken noodle
Our
soup and cinnamon roll
schools would always
are
have cinnamon rolls when we had chili at school.
yeah. It's like it literally they go hand in hand every time.
Absolutely. Welcome to the Midwest, everybody. I need to
Yeah.
bring that
Hey.
up in a Between the Rows episode.
That's right. Yeah, yeah, we do. Like maybe after so maybe in the finale, if we all make it out alive, we go back
Yeah, you
and
go
like
to a
everybody
Runza and get some chili with
and yeah,
cinnamon rolls.
like in celebration of surviving, we go to our
Yeah, you
runs
get a
and get
Runza,
some chili and cinnamon
classic
roll.
a Runza with cheese. Yeah, that cabbage, you got that ground beef. Get yourself a side of
Um,
chili with a dessert for a cinnamon roll and $1 ice cream cone. Twist ice cream
uh-huh.
cone because
That's
they're
right.
like the only place that still serves Twist ice cream.
Yes, and it makes me so sad.
It
You
really
know,
is. It
Twist
really is an
Twist ice
absolute
cream
shame.
cones were my favorite bet when I was little.
Um, bold claim. I don't like chili in general, so I don't have super strong opinions on it. What were we talking about before we got on the conversation? Oh, my DM. Yeah. So in earlier editions of Dungeons and Dragons, dragons were way bigger. Everything in general is way bigger. Like the
Yeah.
Tarask right now is the size of like a quarter of Waterdeep.
Yeah, it's gargantuan
Old Tarasks used to be
or
bigger
gigantic.
than Waterdeep.
Well,
Like
yeah,
they
because they were
were big.
like they slept in the core of the planet.
Yeah, they like were part of the like they were huge. Dragons were half like a quarter to half the size of a Tarask. Like a fully like an ancient dragon, their wingspan like flying above, they would like block out the sun. And so one of the locations that our characters went to was a ruined coliseum that we thought it was just like really big stone words, or it's just stone words. Sorry, I was looking at the Rudolph's message, but stone like carved stone buildings. It was a throne, like a dragon-sized throne for an ancient dragon that
Wow.
took us like days to walk past. Like it like so it was a super cool world, and it continues to change year after year as they release new content and stuff, and he has to invent new ways for the evolution of the world to still fit the core of Dungeons and Dragons.
That's really interesting.
It's a really cool world. It's one
That's
of
really
the
cool.
most fleshed out worlds I've ever played in. He was thinking about like condensing it into a book form, like into a module, and then like releasing it on DM's Guild. And if he ever does that, I am finding a way to play some episodes in his world,
Mhm.
like whether it be for Patreon or like on the main channel. We're doing it because I want you guys to experience this like super cool thing that I've been a part of. It's really awesome. Like I don't even want to attempt doing it like with my own worlds because that is too much.
I mean,
work.
that's a lot. That's a lot of work.
That
man.
is too much. Like I'm too lazy for that. I'm not keeping track of that. Not a chance.
And like all the like even just the money you have to spend to keep up with all that.
Like people complain about how expensive 5th edition is now. Look how many books there was for like 4th. Like we're not doing too bad for 5th edition. Like I think the cost of the books has increased, but there's less of them. So at minimum, we're on par.
And more, I think probably more in them.
Yeah, I would say so. It's a lot less. I will say there's a lot more broad content and a lot less specific.
Yes.
Like they would release books like this is the book on elves, and it would be like the size of the PHB. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, this is just all content on elves and different types of elves and the classes they can do and the weapons they have and all that stuff.
Right.
Oh yeah, 3 and 3.5. fifth edition, they've really toned down on books.
Yeah. Well,
So,
yeah, just because a lot. I mean, because fifth edition as a whole has just been like more of like, hey, you as individual groups do stuff that you
mhm.
want that you find fun and entertaining.
It's
This is
supposed to
just
be much more approachable too. So it isn't
yes,
like, oh, how do I get into this hobby? I
yeah.
have to literally read the entire all collective works of Jules Verne.
Uh-huh.
Like, um,
You have to read the entire Silmarillion just to understand what's going on.
I was at work a little while ago, and one of my coworkers was like, "Have you watched The Rings of Power?" And I was like, "No."
I've
Um,
only seen the first 3 episodes.
and my favorite thing is that I obviously haven't watched it, but he was super excited about it. He really loves it, and I was like, all I know is that it has been described to me as Silmarillion fan fiction, and, um, which is one of the best descriptors I think I've ever heard of a show. A
Yeah.
crazy thing to me about Lord of the Rings is that it is, in my mind, the only series of books that I can definitively say that, in terms of an entertainment value, the movies are better. Because reading Lord of the Rings is like just reading a dictionary. It's like
I
reading
mean,
the Iliad.
yeah, like the Hobbit and
The
and
Hobbit is an actual
and the Lord of the
book.
Rings. Yeah, like well, even the Lord of the Rings is like an actual book. The Silmaril
Oh, the
is like you're
Silmarillion's an encyclopedia.
yeah you're just reading an encyclopedia.
But
Yeah.
like if you've read the original Lord of the Rings books, which let me tell you, I made it through two. I made it through the first two. It is literally like do you know in the
Hmm.
Iliad there's like a chapter where all it does is list all of the boats used in the war.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That there
Yeah. It's
nothing
mhm.
happens in it. They're just like, yes, first was so and these were all of the men included on that boat. That's what reading the Lord of the Rings is like. And then The Hobbit is like someone challenged him to actually write a story. And he was like, done. Um
Yeah.
so and then once again, the book was good, the movie was bad. I don't like the Hobbit movies. I put my foot down. Bold
I mean,
statement.
I think
I didn't like
it's
them.
not. I mean, it's not really a bold statement to say that the Hobbit movies are bad. I mean, I thought they were fine. I certainly understand why people don't like them because
They
it
were
does
better than a
deviate.
lot of other book movies.
It does deviate a lot from the original book. But I do think, yeah, when it comes to like book movie adaptations, it's actually pretty decent.
Um, Also, my favorite thing that they changed, which is like I understand why they did it, but I just find it kind of funny, is that they just turned, and this is in the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings movies. Uh, oh shoot, I'm blanking the elf name. Who's the elf?
Which elf? There's lots of
The
elves.
elf. Shield
Uh,
Slide.
You're talking about Legolas?
That's the one. They just turned Legolas into the Terminator.
I mean, yeah.
Like in the books, he's just like he is a flat earther with a bow.
It's although I mean he's not even in the Hobbit either. So
No, he is.
no.
Yeah, he climbs the rocks and while they're falling, and then like throws the sword to the
Well, yeah,
guy.
well,
He's
yeah,
in
well,
the
yes.
Battle of
In the
Five Armies.
no. He's in the movies.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
he's
Oh
not.
yeah,
He's
he's
not
not
in
in
the.
the
He's
Hobbit.
not in the actual
No,
Hobbit
he's
book.
not in the
That's
Hobbit book. I'm
yes,
talking about in the movies. They just
yes,
turned Legolas into the Terminator.
yes.
And
Okay, I
when
understand.
like in the
Yes, I'm following
books,
it better now.
in the
Yes.
books, all that Legolas could do. Also, he was like, first of all, Gimli is a prince, and Legolas
Yeah.
is basically a backcountry bumpkin.
I mean, he's the prince.
He's the
Bap-
prince
you
of
know.
the bumpkins.
Yeah.
But and then like in the books, Legolas was like good with a bow, but like there was a lot of people good with bows.
I mean, all the elves were. Come
All
on,
the
be good
all
with
the elves,
those.
but they're not like I'm going to do. They're not like making Call of Duty trick shot videos. Like,
I do. I
dude,
do find it.
the
I do
Battle of
find it
Helm's
greatly
Deep
amusing.
is so easy if every elf was as good as Legolas.
I do. I do find it extremely amusing. Every elf, like who has a name, just is basically
Yeah,
superhuman.
they're God. They're like,
It's
I'm just
just
gonna do a double YY ladder stall, 360 no scope, like double headshot kill at the start of the game with a knife. Like, what is going on here? In the books, it was like, Legolas, with your elven eyes, because canonically, all that means is that elves don't perceive the world as round. To them, the world is flat. And so they can just see really long distances. And so all that Legolas is a flat earther archer. That's all that he is. Is he's just like, no, the world is flat and I shoot pretty well. Like I would be an Olympic athlete.
Yeah.
And also, I'm light enough that I don't make footprints in snow.
Yeah, yes.
That they did do in the movie correctly. But in the movie, he's Terminator. He is a machine. Yeah. He is a killing instrument of war.
Yep.
Which is awesome. I'm not saying that was the wrong choice, but it is kind of a funny one. And that is my Lord of the Rings take today.
But Legolas is great. I did, and while I know people are upset that they put Legolas in The Hobbit, personally speaking, I think the Hobbit story is better with Legolas in it.
Look, it's kind of like the whole, you know how I talked about like the perfect icebreaker is if you could choose a movie to put the Predator into. You can't make a Lord of the Rings movie worse by putting Legolas there.
Yes.
Because Legolas is basically the Terminator Predator. So you plop, like, they looked at the movies and they went, wow, we really bungled this one. We really blew this one. It's not good. Like, the scene where they melt the gold just looks like a Velveeta cheese commercial. How do we continue to make money off of this? And someone was like, boss, I've got it. What if Legolas was there? And they're like, I don't understand how that would help anything. And then they showed him just a drawn like flip pad of Legolas just doing cool flips and shooting people. And they're like, you're getting promoted. Send this to the cutting floor. Stop the presses. We gotta put this out there. Legolas is in the movie now. And everyone's like, but boss, he's not in The Hobbit. And they're like, shut up, you're fired. Get him in there. I want him doing backflips off of falling rocks with a waterfall. Like,
oh yes, yeah.
He single-handedly carried, like, it's a wonder that his legs aren't like thicker and heavier, because he carried that whole movie like just on doing cool stuff. Like I literally will watch clips of the Hobbit movies as long as they contain Legolas.
if Legolas is in them, yep.
Like if he's there, I'm like, okay. I can't even express how dumb some of the things in that movie is. There's this awesome scene. It's like the Battle of Five Armies, right? Mm-hmm. And they're all like crashing. The dwarves and the elves are working together. And the dwarves run out there and they form a super sweet shield wall with spikes. Like spears sticking out of them as the orcs run towards them. And then the elves just jump past the shield wall.
Yeah.
They just go past. What was the point of the shield wall?
Well, okay, now to be fair though, originally the dwarves didn't know that the elves were going to help. So...
Okay, but they aren't like good friends now. If I was an elf, I would have gone, okay, I'm not 100% on these dwarves.
I mean, it is a dumb decision to go in front of the shield wall.
At minimum, you're like, oh, it's kind of like in Mr. and Mrs. Smith when they're throwing the knives and then she purposely throws one of them at Mr. Smith and she's like, oops, my hand slipped. That could have been the elves. And they were like, oh no, we could have supported you on the shield wall, but now that the shield wall's been broken, we'll come in and save the day. No, instead, they're like, let's completely invalidate and then go get ourselves killed by jumping into the swords of these. Like, what was that? Was the worst military tactic I've ever seen.
But it looked really, really cool.
I have zero words.
Yes, Aaron, I 100% agree. It's a really stupid military tactic.
I would have no complaints if every single one of those elves was a clone of Legolas. If every single one of them jumped,
if every single one was just Legolas.
Over the dwarf, they like grabbed the shield and shield surfed down some steps while launching arrows at the enemy.
Well, see, no, really. what they could have done, really, they just jump over the shield wall, and then they're just hopping on the heads of orcs as they're just
Absolutely,
shooting.
yeah. And then they climb an elephant, single-handedly take down like a entire castle by themselves. Yes, Poultry, you are correct. The Battle of Five Armies was like 3 to 5 pages. But that's we're very off topic at the moment. It's been 2 hours.
Yeah, we are off topic. Yes.
So, Drew, do you have any parting words? Any final things?
Oh, uh, thanks for having me. I'm really excited for tonight for record.
Yes.
For all you guys, thank you for being here.
Thank
Come
you,
back
everyone,
on
for
Monday,
coming to watch.
Wednesday, and
participating in
Thursday.
chat and all that. It's been a great time.
It's been good.
I, normally I go through the plugs a second time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in the mood today. I don't want to do it. You can't make me. This is my show. Insert plugs here.
Flop.
Yeah, Off Topic is the name of the game for Table Scraps. Thanks everyone for being here. The only thing that I have left to say to you, because you all know the plugs, you've been here before. If you don't, go watch the start of the episode. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
We should make just a exclamation point social, and it just includes like all of it.
Or maybe just like exclamation point, like table scraps, like tea scraps, and just gives us all the things.
That would be good. But I had a blast. Thank you, Drew, for coming on my show and giving me someone to yell at about Lord of the Rings.
That's right.
The only thing that I have left to say today is good luck and Godspeed, everyone. We will see you next time, Dungeoneers. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.